Okay, welcome everyone. Lovely to see you, Alan, Nathan, Holger, Gigi, Emmeline, Adrienne, Virginia, Isaac, Richard, Esther, Holly, and Frank. Okay. So just a couple of words that I think we're meeting again Thursday, and then the meeting after that will be sometimes in July, since Tara and I will be traveling. But I will be sending an email concerning that as of today's meeting. If we could just start by turning our gaze inward, resting as we are, welcoming your experience. Whichever way it appears to you. There is nothing that you need to do, nothing that you need to comprehend or attain or figure out. Just for this meeting, we can let it all be. So that we can enjoy and celebrate being. Pure presence. Nothing to attain. Just a celebration of being. Presence is peace. Sometimes we say it's the ground of being. True love. As presence, as being, there is no separation. One could say that we are one as being, as reality, as truth. We are one. Appearing as everything. Appearing as this lovely, sweet meeting appearing as sensations within the body. Appearing as the sound of traffic, the heartbeat, the breath, so simple. And yet so lovely. This freedom, this expression. Everything is just as it should be. Because there is nothing separate in truth. In this moment of complete intimacy, it's effortless. And effortless welcoming. This welcoming is a yes, yesness. It is only when you imagine yourself to be a person, to be an entity, a separate personal entity. That you imagine yourself to be limited and lacking. There's an imagined sense of lack, something missing, that you feel you need to attain, you need to grasp. And so you move away from your totality, you move away from your wholeness, and assume yourself to be immortal, body-mind. You seek completion. In the phenomenal realm of fleeting experiences. And it's all okay. There isn't a real problem, a real issue. So we invite ourselves to embrace all of it, every sensation, every thought, every feeling. Embracing everything as ourself. Because in this embrace, there is love and beauty. There's a humility, a vulnerability. And a soothing quality. The quality of acceptance and friendship and love. Surrendered to the universe, to the unknown. We sort of trust which comes from our inner intuition, that I am not separate. The appearance of the body-mind in the world is just a glimmer of my infinite reality. like the sunshine on the surface of a pond. So many wavelets and so many glitters of the sun appear to be infinite, but they all refer to the one sun, the one light. Similarly, in our experience, so many forms, thoughts, perceptions, sensations, memories, feelings. You're the infinite reflections of the one light. And from the perspective of this one reality, is nothing to attain. Because everything that appears to you is a glimmer of the reality of being. Your reality, and the reality of the universe are not two. Like the waves on the surface of the ocean. Each is different from the other, but their reality is one, water. The reality of all waves is one reality. Separation is an illusion, a belief. The belief that I am a man, a woman, I'm a person, a son, a daughter. No matter how deeply entrenched this belief is, no matter how strongly we feel that I am a person, it's still a feeling, it's still a belief. Because you are the reality that perceives this perception right now. Then this reality is neither male or female. So as your understanding about reality, about your true nature matures, then the old program of seeking, seeking happiness somewhere out there. That old program becomes more transparent. So that you're able to rest in the peace of being, irrespective of situations and conditions, irrespective of circumstances. It is this causeless peace that our heart yearns for. The freedom, the love, the beauty. Nothing to seek and nothing to attain. Because we've never been separate or limited. Okay, so if you have any questions, anything that you would like to explore or anything that you would like to discuss, please make sure to unmute your mic. If you'd like to turn on your video, then we can see each other. Any questions?
Hey, Maggie, Frank here. Just a quick question.
Hello, Frank.
Oh, I love the meditation today. It was so great. Even though I'm driving, I'm still, and I'm wide awake, believe me. I'm not, I didn't close my eyes or anything, but I just love the meditation. It was so great.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm driving to my mom's. Anyways, yeah, question about, the body, my body mind there seems to be all these patterns in my life, these problems that keep coming up. And I've already sort of gotten away from the thought that I have to fix the body mind. But there are sometimes these patterns that come up that really make life difficult for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I've been doing is just keep going back, like you say, go back to, well, I don't know if you say it like this, but I just go back, I go back to being, who I am. I'm not a body mind. I'm not I don't have any of those identifications. I just go back to being awareness. But that in itself does not get rid of these patterns that I have, that I see in myself, that make my life difficult, that make life for the body mind difficult. Do you have anything you can offer me about that?
Yeah, well, because the question is broad, it's not specific, so I have to answer also in broad terms. So if there are patterns within your life that are making your life difficult, and of course around you, the situation around you unhappy, then you need to take a look, at that the specific process that's operating in causing this unhappiness, because there are patterns that that are practical. I mean, there are some ways that in which we need to respond that makes sense, that serve a good functional purpose, and they may be difficult, but they're not miserable or unhappy. So if there is a pattern in your life that's repeating itself, that's creating unhappiness, you need to take a look at what is the thought or the cause or the feeling, the motive behind it. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Is what you are trying to accomplish practical? If it's practical, then it's just a matter of finding the right process, the right actions. But is the process psychological? If the process is psychological, you need to take a look at that process. What am I defending? Am I defending an image? Am I defending some sense of me or some beliefs that I have? So you need to comprehend the process that is operating within you. So you have to take a look. Don't just go to, well, I am awareness, I am consciousness. No. That's like a sort of a bypassing mechanism. You need to take a look at what assumptions are you making? What beliefs do you have behind the scene? You follow?
Yeah, Maggie, I do. But I have a question about this. So, because I've done a lot of that stuff that most of us have, like I was in 12-step programs for a while and stuff. I've done some of those steps and everything. But a lot of it really is kind of like rehashing the same type of thing, that bringing up the problems from the past, and it's rehashing a lot of that stuff. So do you think when you get into, like, when you take non-duality, for example, or non-dualism, is it a matter of, so when this is really my main path right now that I'm following. Is it a matter of, like when I see these patterns come up, is it a way of, let me see, how do I get these words out right? Is it a matter of taking whatever it is that I'm seeing in myself? Let's say, I'm just going to give you an example. Let's say that I overreact to certain things in my life, whereas I know that certain people don't have those same overreactions, and their life is easier in that way. So let's say I have something like that going on. I'm not even saying that's a big deal in my life right now. Let's say that's one of them. So would I then take it and sort of like go to the temple, like a non-dualism template of saying, okay, so I'm not a body-mind. So there's no need for this belief of having a body-mind react to something. In other words, it's almost like a non-person reacting to a problem. So is it a matter of doing that, of taking it to that template of non-dualism and just saying that, why bother reacting to something when there's not even anybody here to react to something? Or is it helpful to really go into the psychological aspects of it and say, okay, I'm reacting to this because such and such thing happened to me when I was a kid, and this and that, and so forth. Right. Is it that kind of a looking into the problem situation or not?
No, you don't need to go into, the history that something happened when you were a kid, or some sort of trauma that you had that is now causing you to act this way. No, you don't need to do that. But from the non-dual teaching, there is one understanding about unhappiness. The understanding about unhappiness is that at the moment that we assume ourselves to be somebody, to be a person, to be Magdi, to be whatever, whichever way we assume ourselves to be. At the moment that we assume ourselves or we believe ourselves to be a separate entity, at that moment there is already unhappiness. So unhappiness and the patterns, various patterns in which unhappiness displays itself, is rooted in the belief that I am a separate person, that I am a mortal body mind. Now, you need to see that, to see that as it's happening. You need to see that at the moment that you're being defensive, or that you're comparing yourself or judging the other or judging yourself, at that moment, you are assuming yourself to be somebody. And you have, in a way, put a veil, you've placed a veil in front of yourself being this awareness, this presence, this transparent presence. Right now, that which perceives, that which hears, that which is transparent. It's a transparent presence. So at the moment that you place upon this transparent presence, I am somebody, I am a friend, I'm a person, you have already engaged into unhappiness. So the answer to the question is that you need to see at the moment that the pattern is engaging, that at that moment you are taking the position of a personal self. You don't need to go into the past history of your trauma and your ancestry and all of that. It's sufficient for you to see that at that moment, you're taking on a position of a separate person, a personal stand. You're defending somebody. You're defending this imaginary me that you've assumed yourself to be. And you need to understand that as soon as you assume yourself to be a separate self, there is an engagement in defending, resisting, and seeking. So you see it. Once you see, in the seeing is the healing. In the understanding is the healing. So it's a fresh seeing at that moment, at the moment of the engagement in resisting or seeking or blaming or accusing.
So Magdi, I think you're kind of describing though what I was talking about earlier, which is, it's instead of like going into the psychological aspects of why I do this or that or the other, you're basically taking you're bringing in non-duality as a framework or as a template, and within which you can put this thing, this reaction thing, let's say, and saying, okay, so nobody's really here to really even, there's no separate person that would even react to anything.
If there is no separate person, there would not be a reaction. So obviously there is a separate person, because you're describing a pattern of reaction, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So how can you say how can you say?
So what am I missing here? What am I missing here then? Because it sounds like you're describing what I was saying earlier, but I guess maybe I'm missing something here.
No, you're saying there is no separate person, and yet there is a reaction. So if there is a reaction, then there is a separate person, and you need to see that at that moment you are assuming yourself to be a separate person. And why are you assuming yourself to be a separate person? You're trying to protect something. You're trying to defend something. There is something behind the scene that you're trying to protect. Maybe it's your, I don't know, how much you're loved, or whatever it is, whatever process it is at that moment. You're trying to defend. There is a certain, as soon as you assume yourself to be somebody, you've entered into psychology. Psychology meaning the body of thoughts and feelings that pertain to a me.
Okay.
So either what I'm saying is, either you see that in that moment, you're assuming yourself to be a person, okay, and then there is a seeing, a fresh seeing of that. And when there is a seeing, there is going to be a healing. Or, and it's in a way, it's not so different. Or you take a look at what is the process, what is it that you're trying to defend? What is it that what is it that you're trying to secure? And then you have available to you the possibility of understanding that whatever you're trying to defend is fiction. Whether it's your fame or whether it's your property or how people perceive you or whatever it is, it's fiction. Because there is no unhappiness in defending that which is not fiction. If somebody is trying to break into your house and you're defending your property, you're defending your family because somebody is coming to break into your house, there is no unhappiness. There is effort, there is energy, there may be a fight, but there is no unhappiness. Unhappiness is always the result of engaging in fiction. You are arguing and defending or resisting a fictitious situation on behalf of a fictitious person, a fictitious self. And it is unhappy because it is not possible for you to satisfy an imaginary desire. But you can satisfy a real desire by somebody's breaking into your house and your desire is to defend your family. You can satisfy that. Either you get killed or you kill. I mean, as a way of speaking, either you get the thieves out or you don't. But it's not a fictitious desire.
So is the way out of this is, like you said, which is kind of, I think I'm off on. I think it's probably my own thinking here. That's because I feel like I'm saying the same thing that you are. But when I said to you that it seems like the answer is to just just to say, ask yourself like, who is taking, like whether it's taking offense or getting overreactive about something, who is it that's doing that? There's really nobody here to do that. It's a fictitious self. But that's what you're saying too, isn't it? Because I thought that's the answer, is to just go back to that and say there's really nobody here to take offense or whatever.
Well,
but you
yes.
But you said no because there is somebody there. You're saying that I'm thinking that there is somebody there.
Right. If in your question, is there somebody here that I'm defending? Is there actually somebody here that requires my defense? And you get to see that there is nobody here that requires your defense. It is tantamount to seeing that you assumed yourself to be a separate, limited consciousness, while in fact you are not. So it's similar. Except I just wanted to emphasize, rather than saying maybe too quickly, there is no one here, I wanted to encourage you to see that, in fact, the only reason why you are experiencing some sort of reaction or pattern is because you're assuming that you are a separate entity, that there is someone here. Mm-hmm. So it's similar, but there is a slight distinction that I'm making.
Okay, I think I'm getting it. Yeah, I think I'm getting it. Just kind of see that that belief is in place.
Yes.
Just notice that it's in place. Okay, okay.
You have to see it. You see that, yes, okay, here I am, good old Frank, nobody messes with me, blah, 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 whatever. To see that, and of course you have the understanding now, because we've been meeting for so long. You have the understanding that you are not the body mind, that you are this aware presence, that you are awareness. So yes, to see that the moment that there is an engagement in a certain reactive pattern or defensive pattern or aggressive pattern, at that moment you are assuming yourself to be a psychological entity, which is quite different from defending your house if somebody's trying to break into your house.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah. Very good. Very good. Okay, Magdi. That's great. Thanks.
Okay, Frank.
Good one. Good one.
Okay. See you. Okay.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Magdi?
Yes. Hello, John.
Hi. I haven't been able to get my camera to work.
Okay.
So
it's okay.
Nonetheless, anyway. So I get confused also with the idea of, I notice all the time that I'm thinking about a me type of thing. That's when we talk about me, or I'm creating but it seems like I am going into future and past. And I'm wondering if that's a little bit, for me, I'm wondering if that's somewhat, let's say, the key, or at least a better idea for me anyway, to see reality. For instance, I guess if, as you say, if somebody, I guess, tries to do something and I'm defending my life or my family's life or something like that, or something that's in the moment, I guess, and that's you're doing that. But I see it kind of like in the moment. There is no future and past in that necessarily that I can see, because it's a movement that's happening. Usually the body is trying to defend itself and others out of love or whatever. And but so it is. I think it's still confusing, and I just want to say that I see, like, even today, I'm talking with people that I've known in the past and stuff like that. And when I start to have these feelings that are sort of somewhat stressful or painful, and they're not bad, they're that, I love them and so forth and so on, and they're sick or something, I don't know, whatever it is. But I often am thinking, thoughts are also, it's accompanied by thoughts of future and past.
Yes.
And, and so I'm wondering
Right.
if that's what is more of the psychological and the causes the actually causes the suffering.
Yes. So John, yes, there's obviously, a past, and if there is a past, there is a future. There is a past, if you can go in many countries and you'll see ruins of, from the Roman ruins, or the Egyptians or the Carthaginians, and so there is a past in the world. There is a past in the body. There is John, the 10-year-old boy, the 15-year-old boy. There is a lot of documents. There is documentation about the past. There's a past to the body. There's a past to the world. There is a past to the mind. There's a memory of my mom, when she was alive. There are memories, of the past. So there is a past and therefore a future, because they come hand in hand. But there is no past or future to I. There is a past and future to the world, to the body, to the mind, but there is no past or future to I. I meaning presence, awareness, what I am, to reality, to that which there is a reality in this moment. And this reality is the reality of being, of presence, of awareness. So reality is aware. So it's not like a blank reality. It's just the emptiness. It's an aware emptiness. So this there is no time for reality. There is no time for presence, for reality, for being, for I. So in terms of time, psychological time is I exist in time. It's not the body exists in time. Of course, the body exists in time. It's not, the world exists in time. Of course, the world exists in time. But we're talking about ignorance. Ignorance is the belief that I exist in time, the belief and the feeling that I exist in time. So when we superimpose onto presence, which is borderless, when we superimpose the straitjacket of time, then there is unhappiness. Because as soon as you superimpose onto awareness, presence, the straitjacket of time, there is the primordial fear, primordial fear, the fear of death. There is the fear of extinction, the fear of ending, because time is beginning and end. There is a phase, a beginning and an ending in time. But in terms of awareness, presence, there is no beginning and ending. So in your experience, whenever you refer to yourself as I, somebody in time and space, then you are in ignorance and you are in the unhappiness and in the misery and the angst and the worry and the fear. So that would be the psychological aspect of time. But there is no issue with physical time, meaning the world exists in time and the body existing in time. Bodies, 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 50-year-old, 80-year-old, at some point, the body, is buried. There is no issue with physical time. The issue is more in terms of the psychological time.
So let me see. So getting back to, so let's say, defending your family. I always find that interesting because, well, I just do, but so in a way, it still is about past and future, because because it sounds like it's confusing the I, okay? The I is now becoming an entity in time. For instance, if I say, well, the future is going to be bad, or the past was bad or good, or, this and that is happening, what's going to happen now, what's going to happen next, the imagined character in the future and in the past, because even in the past, I'm only imagining something myself in the past. It's not the reality.
No, but you don't exist in time. If you're imagining yourself,
right.
you're
right.
imagining yourself in the past, that would be ignorance.
That's what I'm saying.
There is a past to the body. There is a 12-year-old body, a 15-year-old body, but there isn't a past. I am not in the past. Awareness is not in the past. The past time appears to me, like time appears to me as a thoughts. For example, you could right now have the thought of breakfast this morning, right? If you have the thought of breakfast this morning, this thought appears to you. So there is the time frame of between this morning and now as a thought appears to you. You do not appear in time. Time appears to you. So when you're talking about I in time, then immediately you're in ignorance. As soon as you're referring to yourself as I am in time, you're in ignorance.
Okay, yeah, I'm understanding what you're saying there, but then I don't, because it's the idea of confusing who I really am and, my true nature. And so then.
So when you're defending your property,
Yeah, that's what I
you're
want.
not defending yourself. You're not defending yourself.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the self, what I am, requires no defense. So, but the car may need to be protected. So we have to lock the car, or put an alarm system on the car, or put an alarm system on the house, or we put a double bolt on the house. But not, it's not around. I don't put a double bolt on awareness, on consciousness. So when you're defending your property, you're not defending yourself. You're defending the property of the body mind, of the family, of
Right.
the tribe, or whatever. So that has to do with the monkey mind. So in the monkey mind, the monkeys are a tribe. You know, they hang out together. They protect themselves against other predators. But when it comes to I, meaning awareness, presence, that which hears these words right now, that is non-phenomenal. That have no requirements for protection, because it is the reality in chief. It is the perceiver in chief. Right.
I hear that part. I get a little bit confused, and it's okay, but I get confused on, for instance, when you say you're defending, do you put a double lock on? I mean, do you put a single lock on? I mean, where's the defense stop? Does it stop, or
it will stop? It will stop. It stops when it works. For example, if you put one lock and then people break in the door because you put in one lock, then you put in two locks. If people break in the door because you put in two locks, then you put in three locks. And if they can no longer break the door, then it stops at three locks.
I see a me there. I see a me, because I see a me there, saying, me, the body, mind, this is happening.
No. Awareness. Wait a minute. There is a difference between I, meaning I presence, I awareness, and the car. I am the manager of the car. I'm not the manager. I'm via this particular body mind called Magdi. I manage Magdi's car, but via the body mind called John, I manage John's car. Via the body mind Magdi, I consciousness manage Magdi's family, Magdi's bank account, blah blah blah, Magdi's body. The same awareness. Via the body mind, John, I manage John's bank account and John's family, blah, blah, blah. So there is one manager in chief, but there are infinite minds. I think you're confusing mind with consciousness, with I. When I say I'm always referring to the reality that perceives right now. And that reality is neither male nor female. It is not 5 foot tall or 10 foot tall. It's not blue, yellow, or green. It is formless, and yet it is undeniable. It's impossible to deny awareness.
So is consciousness, or so is the true I, or however you want to put it, presence or whatever. When you use the term I, then you say, I am defending my family. I am doing this. So obviously there's only one reality. So
yes, I'm defending my family via the body mind Magdi, and I'm defending my family via the body mind John, and I'm defending my family via the body mind Mary, and I'm defending my family via the monkey mind and via the snake mind, etc.
And is there a way to know? Yes, because everything is I, consciousness. So now, maybe there's no need to know why or how or whatever. But for instance, since people, we all call and we ask certain things, and of course we're asking as a person, because a lot of times, and I'll speak for myself, it's the person trying to do something. And, in other words, things haven't settled into where there's a fullness of I, or presence of I, or even though it's always there, but it isn't embodied, let's say, as much as in you and others. And so one is trying to say, okay, where am I getting confused? Or, is trying to learn through the mind, is trying to learn through the tool and so forth and so on, certain things. So in this case, if I'm defending my family, I'm doing a bank account. I'm not good at much of anything as far as whatever good is supposed to be at all of those things. But it's I guess I'm going to say, will I? Well, let me get a live example. Like today, maybe let's say, I'm talking to my former wife, and she's going into the hospital, and she was scared, and I feel scared. And I texted her back and said, I guess that's because we bonded, And when you love somebody, even though she's a former wife, I still love her, and so they say you can kind of feel the same things or something like that. And I'm thinking about that, and I'm going, well, maybe I shouldn't, because maybe that means something else, and this, and I'm going into all this other stuff, and it's kind of stressful right now, and I feel a little teary, and so forth and so on, and so the mind just starts to go. But that's just me trying to protect. That's definitely me trying to protect me, because I don't want to be this person that's probably vulnerable and so forth and so on, emotionally and psychologically. But I can't sit there and, like you were telling Frank, I don't sit there and go, well, I'm just presence, and so it shouldn't bother me. So I don't know, where's the difference?
To feel compassion, or to feel what the other person is feeling when you are in their proximity, when you are sharing life with them, in whichever way you are sharing life with them, to feel this communion with the other it's a normal. It's not. It has nothing to do with believing myself to be a separate entity. It is just feeling the warmth. It's like when you're in a certain environment, this environment comes to you. You start to feel what other people are feeling, what's going on around you. That has nothing to do with unhappiness. So you may feel some sorrow, you may feel some sadness, you may feel even some of your ex-wife's anxiety. You may feel that within you, and that's because we are of the mirroring neurons. We're transparent to each other. That's normal. That's natural to the human organism. But
and I thought, today I thought, I personally liked the tears. At first, I fought the tears a little bit, and I was in a public place, but the tears came, and I have learned to love my tears. They just sort of bathe me, and they cleanse the inside. Whatever they do something, and but I also had thoughts, should I, am I investing in something that isn't real? Am I, it's just me. And that's a real me. That's the doubting a me self. Am I good enough, bad enough? Am I thinking right or wrong, or that, and all that kind of stuff. And so what I knew was basically is just to let it be. Let the thoughts come. Let the let the emotions come. Let it come. It's coming anyway. What am I going to do with that? It's in the now. It's present.
Yes.
What? Why make a big issue out of it?
Absolutely.
And
because unhappiness is not so much in what we are feeling, but in resisting, and in
okay. Yeah.
So there can be a certain feeling of sadness, of sorrow, of anger.
Sure.
But in the resisting or in the seeking, that's where the unhappiness is.
Yeah. I see the resisting and the seeking. So even the anxiety sometimes is, I think it sometimes the me entity, or the psychological entity, I could say, can be, is like what will happen next, and family, and everything's.
Well, I mean,
it does.
there are certain uncertainty in life. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So there may be a certain degree of anxiety that has a practical nature because we don't have a crystal ball. But there is this sort of uncertainty about tomorrow, about what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I going to do tomorrow? Has its place to a certain degree, you see.
Okay. All right. I haven't heard that from you before. I haven't, anyway. Yeah. Okay.
Not to become sort of a major thing, and of course, the thing is that the relaxation, the tranquility, the peace is always in now, in the moment. It's always in the moment. So yes, there is some anxiety, but what's going to happen tomorrow? My daughter is going to visit. Oh my God, is she going to bring up this issue and that issue? Okay, these thoughts arise, but above all, where am I? Where is my existence? Where is my experience? Is it not now in this moment? So we don't know about tomorrow. We don't have a crystal ball. So when tomorrow presents itself, it will be a fresh moment.
Even with the anxiety, I'm going to ask this. Even with the anxiety, and even with all these thoughts and these emotions, of course, saying, well, yeah, because obviously the resistance would be, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this anxiety. I don't want to feel this. I mean, that's very clear. Okay. And so I see that, that's there, but I also see that just let it be because it is.
Right. And there is also the understanding, yes, we let it be because it's there, it's on deck, but also there is the understanding that anxiety to a large extent is a mental projection. We're sort of projecting, so that the understanding is also helpful because understanding brings us back to presence, you see.
Well, I think that's, in my case, what it seems like. If it seems like I have to think it, I think sometimes if the understanding becomes deeper and deeper, I mean, even with me, there's a level of understanding. But it seems like the mind won't project as much typically, because, for instance, right away I can go into. I mean, it's like I can almost. Well, it's like I can see it. It's like I can be projecting and have anxiety and go. It's like there's thought that says, but that is moving through the eye, you could say. That is moving through I, and even if I don't have to say I'm I or whatever, that kind of stuff, I can see the reality, even on I think a personal level, so to speak. I can see that that's something that is like steam. It's just moving around.
Yes.
It's just moving around, and I can. And if I try to make something concrete out of it, empty, that's where the pain comes in. That's where the suffering seems to come in, because I'm trying to do something that's impossible, really. But I guess what is it? Focused on or obsessed with making it something rather than letting it be. And letting it happen, and being, and letting I be who I am, letting the reality be. Not that, how do you say that? It's not I, me personally, but in a way I'm speaking like that. Letting I could say on a personal level, maybe, if there's a personal level there that's saying, it's that knowing that's always there, that's never been not there, and there's a recognition of that, and somehow that's recognized, and yet so somehow that's recognized, and I see that, and that usually, I could say, helpful, but it usually will it will usually dissipate a lot of the mental projections.
Yes, in the long run,
yeah,
presence will reveal
yes,
itself to you as
yeah,
your true home. And
yes, okay,
so yes, we may go through periods of struggling at the mind level.
yeah,
It's okay. In time, presence reveals the peace that it is
yeah,
to you.
yeah,
And then you find yourself more and more resting in presence.
sure,
And
sure.
the movements of the mind, they become
Well, I think,
less and less important for you.
yeah, I think the last thing I'll just say is also it reminds me of putting attention, on the present moment.
Yeah.
And this has happened many times. I think I've spoken to you about it before. I'd be sitting in my car or somewhere else or anywhere, and all of a sudden something will happen, and it doesn't seem like thought is in the picture. I don't recognize any thinking, but movement and just kind of the personal entity, and that's all disappeared. It's just whatever movement. It's just, but larger than that is what we're calling I suppose, and in other words, consciousness and awareness, presence, and I am that, so I think for me, a lot of times the idea of just moving from moment to moment is helpful for me. In other words, if I'm going to the car, then I'm going to the car. That's what I do. That's what I focus on. If I'm going to drive the car, I drive the car. That's what I'm focused on. If I need to focus on that, I have to stop at the stop. I do that, but I focus on it.
Yes, yes, but also
only for the now, only to recognize the now.
I mean,
that's kind of what it's about.
Yeah, well, the true significance of the now is the peace.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's the causeless peace. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what will happen.
Yes.
And
so it's not so much like the light or this or that, but it's the peace, it's the inner tranquility. And yes, okay, fine. I mean, if it's helpful to
sure,
focus on at the light, whatever.
Well, what I mean by that, Magdi, is basically that if that's what helps the personal body mind, it's like if you love somebody, if you love a child or something like that, you might say, why don't you just do this right now? Or why don't you relax? Or why don't you stop thinking about that right now? I mean, you could try that and do this or whatever. And, and they won't be so obsessed and it will disappear or something, or it'll come back, but it won't be as strong. And so in a way, I'm loving myself. I'm saying to be present. Okay. Why don't you be who you are? Okay. And just be now, and be knowing, just be now. And so if I do that, it brings the peace. It brings, it relieves suffering, or if the suffering's there, I somehow recognize peace within the suffering.
Okay.
So
good. Okay, John.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Magdi.
Thank you, John. Nice chatting with you. Okay.
Nice
Okay. Any questions? Well, somebody asked me to talk about turning away from the world. So I don't know if maybe I'll just say a few words, just a few words about that turning away from the world. Well, there is no need to turn away from anything. What is it that would turn away? Right now, here we are. There is this experience. So what does it mean to turn away from this experience? Is it possible to turn away from this experience? This experience, this perception is obviously perceived. And maybe a minute from now will be a different perception. So the perception turns itself away moment by moment. Every thought is turning itself away moment by moment. Every perception, every sensation is turning itself away moment by moment. There is no personal doer who's turning himself or herself away from anything. So sometimes we say, well, I need to turn myself away from the world in order to protect myself, in order to have a more spiritual experience. But what is this you that you imagine yourself to be? So you have to imagine yourself to be somebody. And so you say, well, I, the somebody, need to turn myself away from the world. So this way I will be okay. I'll be safer. I'll be better. I will be more spiritual. But there is no actual separate self. There is no personal me. There is a thought of a personal me or an image or a feeling. But the fact that there is a thought or an image or a feeling or a belief in a personal me does not mean that, in fact, there is a personal me. Right? So what is it that's going to turn themselves away from the world? There's no such thing. There's no need to bother yourself with turning yourself away from the world. Don't bother with that. Simply take a look at the belief that you have about yourself. You believe yourself and you feel yourself to be an entity, to be somebody. That belief is there. It may not be visible to you because it's often in the background. It's behind the curtain. Just take a look at the belief that you have. You have to sort of pull it out from behind the curtain and say, okay, well, I believe I am blah, 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 whatever it is. I am this person, that person, spiritual person. I am this, I am that. And explore, investigate this belief. Is it true? Is it true that I meaning this aware presence, the reality that perceives right now, is it true that this reality is a woman or a man or a person or exists in time and space? This is the investigation you need to do. You don't need to worry about turning yourself away from the world or into the world or towards the world or whatever. Just investigate directly your belief about yourself so that you can become free from belief. And in the freedom from belief is presence, being. The beliefs about yourself are the veils. They're the straitjacket that binds you. the feelings you get as connected and identified with the feelings, with thoughts and feelings and images. That's your straitjacket. So we put on the straitjackets of feelings and the straitjacket of beliefs about myself, and then we struggle. We put on the straitjacket and we struggle. We put on the straitjacket and we struggle. We put on the straitjacket and we struggle. That's how we are living. We're living we put on the straitjacket and then we struggle. You have to see through this process so that we can be free from this process, the understanding of this process. So I never talk about turning away from the world or turning away from anything. No, that makes no sense in this sharing, makes no sense. Well, okay, thank you all. Very lovely to be with you. Gigi, nice to meet you. Emmeline, Holger, and George, John, hi Richard, Holly, Frank, Ola, Isaac, and Jenny, and my sweet Tara. Thank you all.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thanks, Magdi.
Okay, see you.
Thank you, Frank, and everyone.
Yeah, it's good to hear everybody. John, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.